The silent plea. The message that changed everything. The signal had been traveling through the endless darkness of space for nearly 7 years. It moved at the speed of light, carrying with it the desperate hope of an entire civilization. The Kelhari people had sent it knowing they might never receive an answer, but what choice did they have? Their world was dying, and they had exhausted every solution their science could provide. The message was simple, encoded in mathematical sequences that any intelligent species could understand. It contained their location, their situation, and a plea that transcended language itself. Help us. Please. Anyone. We are dying. On their home world of Kelhara, a planet of purple oceans and silver forests, the population had already begun to decline. What had once been a thriving civilization of 8 billion souls now numbered barely 3 billion. The rest had perished as their sun underwent an unexpected transformation, expanding faster than any astronomical models had predicted. The radiation levels had increased dramatically, burning away the protective atmospheric layers that had shielded their world for millions of years. When the mighty turned away. The first species to receive the Kelhari distress call was the Vrynn Collective, a massive interstellar empire that controlled over 400 star systems. Their listening posts picked up the signal and immediately began analysis. Within hours, their artificial intelligence networks had decoded the message, identified the species, and calculated the resources required for intervention. The decision came swiftly from the Vrynn High Command. Intervention denied. The species was classified as pre-warp, meaning they had not yet developed faster-than-light travel. According to Vrynn protocols, such species must be allowed to evolve naturally without outside interference. The fact that they would likely go extinct was unfortunate but not unprecedented. The galaxy had witnessed the death of countless civilizations throughout its long history. The Zenthari Federation received the signal next. As one of the oldest spacefaring civilizations, they had strict guidelines about first contact situations. They held a council meeting that lasted 3 of their standard days, debating the ethical implications of intervention. Some argued passionately for aid, citing the Federation's core values of preserving sentient life. Others countered that helping every struggling species would drain resources needed for their own people. In the end, the vote failed to reach the required majority. The Kelhari would receive no help from the Zenthari Federation. However, the council did send a response message explaining their decision and offering their sympathies. It would take 7 years to reach Kelhara, arriving long after everyone there would be dead. The discovery on Earth. Deep beneath the mountains of Chile, in a facility known as the South American Array, human scientists monitored signals from across the galaxy. The work was often tedious, cataloging radio bursts from distant quasars and mapping the electromagnetic signatures of nebulae. But occasionally, they found something extraordinary. Dr. James Morrison had been on duty for 12 hours when the anomalous signal appeared on his screen. At first, he thought it might be another false positive, perhaps interference from a satellite or a glitch in the system. But as he ran the analysis protocols, his exhaustion vanished, replaced by intense focus. The signal was clearly artificial. It contained mathematical sequences that formed patterns, repeating in variations that no natural phenomenon could produce. More than that, embedded within the mathematics was something that made his breath catch. It was a cry for help, unmistakable in its urgency despite being written in an alien language. Morrison immediately contacted his supervisor, Dr. Elena Rodriguez, who rushed to the facility from her home. Together, they worked through the night, piecing together the message's meaning. By dawn, they had enough information to send their findings up the chain of command. Within 48 hours, the discovery reached the Terran Space Council, the governing body that oversaw humanity's expansion into space. The council chamber in Geneva filled with representatives from every major Earth nation, along with delegates from the lunar and Martian colonies. Humanity faces a choice. The debate in the council chamber was heated. Humanity had been a spacefaring species for only 53 years. The faster-than-light drive had been perfected just 12 years earlier, and Earth's presence in the wider galaxy was still minimal. They had established trade relations with 3 alien species and maintained embassies on 2 alien worlds, but they were still considered newcomers in galactic politics. Ambassador Chen Wei of the Eastern Coalition spoke first. The Kelhari are located approximately 72 light-years from Earth. Even with our fastest ships, the journey would take 8 months. We would need to commit significant resources, ships, personnel, and supplies. Can we justify this expense for a species we have never met? Ambassador Jennifer Okoye from the African Union countered immediately. Can we justify not helping? We have the technology to make a difference. If we ignore this, what does that say about humanity? That we have learned nothing from our own history? The historical weight of her words hung in the air. Earth's past was filled with moments when people had chosen to look away from suffering, and those choices had left scars that took generations to heal. Humanity had almost destroyed itself several times before finally achieving unity and reaching for the stars. Commander Sarah Chen stood to address the council. As the highest-ranking officer in the Terran Expeditionary Fleet, her opinion carried significant weight. She was a veteran of the first contact conflicts, the brief but intense skirmishes that had occurred when Earth first ventured beyond its solar system and encountered hostile forces. I have read the full analysis of the Kelhari situation, Chen said, her voice calm but firm. Their sun is undergoing a rapid expansion phase. Based on our stellar models, they have perhaps 5 years before their world becomes completely uninhabitable. They lack the technology for mass evacuation or for constructing the kind of radiation shields they would need. Without help, they will die. All of them. She paused, looking at each council member in turn. We have been monitoring galactic communications. We know that other species have received this distress call. The VRNN dismissed it. The Zenthri debated and decided against action. At least 4 other major civilizations have chosen to do nothing. The Kelhari are calling into the darkness, and the darkness is not answering. The weight of decision. A younger delegate, Ambassador Marcus Wright from the Mars colony, stood next. Commander Chen, with respect, we are barely holding our own out here. Our colony ships are stretched thin. We have territorial disputes with the Krellian Empire that could turn hostile at any moment. Can we really afford to send our ships across the galaxy on a rescue mission? Chen turned to face him. Ambassador, I fought in the Battle of Proxima Station. I was there when the Krellians attacked our mining operation, expecting us to fold immediately. Do you know why we won that engagement? Wright shook his head. We won because we refused to abandon our people. The Krellians assumed we would cut our losses and run. They did not understand that humans do not leave their own behind. That determination surprised them, and that surprise gave us the edge we needed. Chen's eyes swept across the chamber again. The Kelhari are not our people, not yet. But if we help them, if we show the galaxy that Earth will answer distress calls that others ignore, we make a statement about who we are. We show that humanity measures strength not just in weapons and ships, but in compassion. The council chamber fell silent. Every person there understood the implications. This was not just about saving one alien species. It was about establishing Earth's identity in a galaxy that often seemed cold and indifferent. It was about choosing what kind of civilization humanity would become as it ventured further into the stars. Ambassador Rodriguez from the European Federation requested the floor. She was elderly, one of the original architects of the unified Earth government that had formed after the climate wars. I remember, she began softly, when my grandmother told me stories of the refugee crisis of the 21st century. Millions of people displaced by rising seas and failed states. She told me how nations closed their borders, how they turned away ships full of desperate families. She told me how ashamed she felt to be part of a generation that chose fear over compassion. Her voice grew stronger. We survived those dark times, but we carry the memory of them. We promised ourselves and future generations that we would be better. That when we reached the stars, we would bring the best of humanity with us, not the worst. She looked directly at Ambassador Wright. Yes, this will be expensive. Yes, it will stretch our resources. Yes, it might create diplomatic complications. But can any of us look our grandchildren in the eye and tell them we had the power to save 8 billion sentient beings and chose not to because it was inconvenient? The vote that echoed across the stars. The vote was called at midnight Geneva time. The chamber had been in session for 18 hours, with breaks only for meals and necessary rest. Every council member understood that their decision would be remembered for generations, one way or another. The results appeared on the central display. 73% in favor of intervention. The Terran Space Council had authorized what would become known as the Mercy Protocol, the largest humanitarian mission in human history. Commander Sarah Chen received her orders within the hour. She was to assemble a task force consisting of 6 major vessels, 2 heavy cruisers, 2 medical ships, and 2 cargo vessels loaded with atmospheric reconstruction equipment. The mission parameters were clear. Reach Kelhura. Stabilize their dying sun or evacuate the population. Save as many lives as possible. Chen stood on the observation deck of the TSS Horizon, her flagship, and watched Earth rotate below. Somewhere down there, her daughter was sleeping, probably dreaming of following her mother into space someday. Chen thought about the kind of galaxy she wanted her daughter to inherit. One where distress calls went unanswered. Or one where help came, no matter how far you had to travel. She activated her communication device. All ships, this is Commander Chen. Begin final preparations. We launch in 72 hours. Make them count. The journey begins. Assembling the fleet. The docking bays orbiting Earth had never seen such frantic activity. 6 massive vessels were being prepared for the longest rescue mission humanity had ever attempted. Engineers worked around the clock, checking every system twice, knowing that there would be no easy resupply once the fleet departed. The TSS Horizon, Commander Chen's flagship, was a Vanguard-class heavy cruiser. At 800 meters long, it carried a crew of 400 and was equipped with the latest in human military technology. Its sister ship, the TSS Defiant, matched it in size and capability. Both ships had been designed primarily for defense, but their powerful reactors and advanced shield systems made them ideal for the kind of extended deep space operation the mission required. The medical ships, TSS Mercy and TSS Healing Light, were converted colony vessels. Their vast cargo holds had been transformed into mobile hospitals capable of treating thousands of patients simultaneously. Each ship carried medical staff from across Earth and the colonies, volunteers who had immediately signed up when the mission was announced. Among them were specialists in xenobiology, prepared to deal with alien physiologies they had never encountered before. The cargo ships, TSS Prometheus and TSS Atlas, were industrial giants. They carried atmospheric processors, radiation scrubbers, terraforming equipment, and enough supplies to support operations for 2 years if necessary. The equipment they carried represented the cutting edge of human environmental technology, much of it developed during the terraforming of Mars. Lieutenant Marcus Webb stood in the engineering bay of the Horizon, running final diagnostics on the faster-than-light drive. The FTL system was humanity's proudest achievement, developed after reverse engineering alien technology acquired through trade. But it was also temperamental, requiring constant monitoring and adjustment. "How's she looking?" Chen asked, appearing beside him. Webb jumped slightly, not having heard her approach. "Commander. The drive is operating at 98% efficiency. I have flagged 2 minor fluctuations in the quantum stabilizers, but nothing that should cause problems during the journey." Chen nodded. "I need better than should, Lieutenant. We will be pushing these drives harder than they have ever been pushed. 8 months of nearly continuous FTL travel through regions of space we have barely charted. I need to know this ship will get us there and back." Webb met her eyes. "Then I will make sure of it personally, Commander. The Horizon will not let you down." The crews who answered. Across all 6 ships, similar conversations were happening. Crew members said goodbye to families, made final preparations, and contemplated the journey ahead. Many of them had volunteered specifically for this mission, wanting to be part of something larger than themselves. Dr. Sarah Kamani, the chief medical officer aboard the TSS Mercy, recorded a message for her children back on Earth. "I know you are scared," she said softly, her dark eyes warm with love. 8 months is a long time, and yes, this mission is dangerous. But sometimes we are called to do difficult things. The Kelhari people are dying, and we have the skills to help them. How could I live with myself if I stayed home and did nothing? In the cargo bay of the Prometheus, Chief Engineer David Torres supervised the loading of the last atmospheric processor. The machine was massive, designed to filter toxins from planetary atmospheres and restore chemical balances. Torres had helped develop the technology during the Mars terraforming project. Careful with that, he barked as a crane operator nearly scraped the processor against a bulkhead. That machine represents 5 years of research and 50 million credits. More importantly, it might be the difference between life and death for millions of Kelhari. His assistant, a young woman named Amy Park, approached with a datapad. "Chief, I have the final inventory. We are carrying enough spare parts and raw materials to operate all equipment at full capacity for 18 months. Torres nodded approvingly. "Good. But I want you to run the numbers again, assuming 25% higher usage than projected. I do not trust any mission plan that does not account for things going wrong." Departure Day. The day of departure arrived with Earth's news networks providing continuous coverage. For the first time in decades, humanity was united in watching a single event. Across the planet, in homes and schools and public squares, people gathered to witness the fleet's launch. In the council chamber at Geneva, Ambassador Rodriguez stood before cameras broadcasting to the entire solar system. "Today," she began, "humanity takes a step that defines us. We do not go to Kelhara seeking profit or territory. We go because we heard a cry for help and chose to answer. We go because we believe that compassion is not weakness, but the greatest strength any civilization can possess." She paused, her expression solemn. "The journey will be long and difficult. Some of our people may not return. But they go knowing that they carry with them the hopes and prayers of 8 billion humans. They go to show the galaxy that Earth stands ready to help those in need. May they return safely, having done the impossible." Aboard the Horizon, Commander Chen stood on the bridge, surrounded by her senior staff. The ship hummed with power, every system ready, every crew member at their station. Through the forward viewport, Earth hung like a blue jewel against the black velvet of space. "All ships report ready, Commander," said Lieutenant Commander Jackson, her second in office. Chen took a deep breath. This was it. The moment that would define her career and possibly humanity's place in the galaxy. "Open a channel to the fleet." "Channel open, Commander." Chen spoke clearly, knowing her words would be recorded and remembered. "This is Commander Sarah Chen to all ships of the Mercy Fleet. We have been given a mission that many consider impossible. We are traveling farther than any human rescue operation has gone before, to save people we have never met, people who do not even know we are coming. Some in the galaxy think we are foolish. Let them think what they will. We know who we are. We are Earth's answer to the darkness. We are hope made manifest. All ships, engage FTL drives. Set course for Kelhara. It is time to show the galaxy what humanity is made of." The 6 ships began to accelerate, their massive engines burning bright against the dark. As they reached the required velocity, space itself seemed to ripple around them. Reality bent and twisted, and then in a flash of light that illuminated half of Earth's orbit, the Mercy fleet vanished, beginning their 8-month journey across 72 light-years of space. On Earth, billions watched them go. In classrooms, teachers talked to children about courage and compassion. In homes, families prayed for the safe return of loved ones. In government buildings, officials began the complex work of explaining to other alien civilizations why humanity had chosen to act when all others had refused. And on distant Kelhura, a world dying beneath an unstable sun, the Kelhuri people continued their desperate struggle for survival, not yet knowing that help was finally coming. The galaxy was about to learn that when humanity heard a call for help, distance meant nothing. 8 billion humans had sent 6 ships and 1,500 of their best people across an impossible distance, carrying a simple message that would echo through the stars for generations to come.